Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, there is a problem growing in this country that nobody seems to want to talk about, but they've highlighted it in Conservative Home. This is a website for the Conservative Party. And it's a very difficult subject to talk about, and I've got to be really careful about what I say and how I say it, so bear with me. But we're going to talk about demographics. Now, the 2021 census has shown that just 74.4%, so basically three quarters of people, but just under three quarters of all people in England and Wales are defined as white British. And they suggest that within 30 years, white British will be a minority in their own country. Now, this is the problem of the subject of this video, because we're going to be talking about identity, race, and so forth. But it's also culture, change, and so forth. But it's clear that within 30 years, the history, heritage, culture, laws, ethics, morals of this country will change. They will be subsumed. They will be taken over and diluted by those coming in. And it's a mixture, of course, of mass immigration, legal as well as illegal, and the demographics of childbirth. Quite simply, the native Brits, if you will, aren't having anywhere near enough children. Now, the problem has been highlighted. Robert Jenrick is highlighting this problem. He's saying that something needs to be done. And he's quite right. If something is not done early, then it's much harder later on. It's not his words, but it's similar to a cancer. You catch a cancer early on, it can be dealt with quite easily. If you leave it too long, the next thing you know, it's stage 4 cancer, it's terminal, nothing can be done, and you have a horrible ending. Now, no one, of course, is suggesting it's all going to end with, gas chambers or anything. Not physical anyway, but metaphorically, demographically, yeah, we are walking towards the gas chambers, but we're doing it with a smile on our face because no one seems either to be aware of it or to have the willingness to address the problem. Certainly no one in power, the elites. And we're not talking about just the Labour Party. It's been many, many generations, many governments of all hues, colours and flavours. None of them have wanted to grasp the nettle because it is, of course, difficult. Because they're going to start going, oh, we need to address this because of very difficult decisions that we've been involved in and we've not dealt with in the past. If we start highlighting it now, we're going to highlight our own failures in the past. Also, of course, there's that great fear that they'll look, if we're starting highlighting, it's going to be this, it's culture, and it's identity, we're going to look racist, look at us, we're going to look bad, right wing, and all that far right bollocks. But that's not the case. The case is, if they don't deal with it now, the problem may well deal with itself later on. And if it is later on, it could be a lot worse. There are people who are, of course, mentioning civil war. Elon Musk famously said Britain is heading for a civil war. And the reason is it's not controlling its borders. Now, 10, 15 years ago, if you'd have said the things that are being said now, you'd have been branded extreme right, a firebrand, people would have just negated what you said on the grounds of, racism. But it's becoming more mainstream, not necessarily at the top, but in the streets. People are starting to say it again. People are starting to have conversations about it. It's becoming acceptable to recognise the issue. And people are starting to suggest solutions. The trouble is, a lot of the solutions Could end up with policemen knocking at your door because even if they are sensible solutions, the elite don't like you even talking about it. And I'm talking about, oh, what? You're talking about closing the borders? Well, that sounds like a bad idea. Oh, no, can't close borders. Can't stop them flooding in. The problem is, you see, one of the issues you have, and here's the thing that people don't realise. Angela Rayner wants to build these 1.5 million houses, and the government have already confirmed that most of them are going to go to immigrants, or as they like to call them, asylum seekers. Once they've been in that house for 5 years, they have the legal right to vote. Now, no other country in the world allows things like this. Sweden have clamped down on it. Poland don't do it. Hungary, of course, don't do it. The Netherlands, Denmark, they're all saying, no. You don't get this. You don't get those rights. You don't get anything like that. This country, we're like idiots. Oh, yes, you're an illegal. But we'll give you this nice house. We'll give you this nice phone. Here's lots of money. Make sure it's near a school. Oh, in a couple of years you can vote. Hey, you might even become Prime Minister. And then you can change all the laws. And hey. And people around the world look at Britain and go, you're fucking mental. But apparently, yes. Well, we're not. But the elite are. The ones we vote into office are. Of course, another problem is demographics. It is a demographic time bomb. White British women, you're tending only to have 1.4 children per life, in your lifetime. You need 2.1 minimum. So when you're only having half the number of kids you should, it's no wonder the problem's there. But the ONS has published some figures and about birth rates. And we're going a fall from 2010, 68% of all births in Britain were by white British women. By 2023, the year the latest figures are available, that's fallen to just 55%. So 55% of births in this country are births where the mother is white British. Doesn't necessarily mean the child is, but the mother is white British, 55%, and falling. So it's not hard to see how we will be subsumed within a few years. Within 30 years, the minority. What can we do? Well, there are lots of solutions, of course. And as I say, saying those solutions gets the knock at the door. But one you can quite easily say is, how about border control? How about not letting in so many people? How about encouraging the natives to breed? Because otherwise we may as well just give up now and let Britain sink and go and cease to be what it was. It will soon not be a white Christian nation. And whose fault's that? The government. And what are they doing about it? Nothing. And who's going to pay? The people. Early intervention is better than late intervention. Thanks very much. Bye.